Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tare, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And today I'm up to song number 2601. And before I introduce it, I think I should mention that every time I feature 100 songs, I end up compiling them into a montage and I had a chance to make it yet, but it should in another week or two I should have a montage of songs number 2700 to 2601. I'll feature 7-second clips of each song. I'm not allowed to feature more of that without copyright infringement. But anyway, that'll be coming up in a couple weeks, so just a little heads up on that. But anyway, like I said, today I'm up to song number 2601, and that one is Disco Lady by Johnnie Taylor. And this came out in 1976. It went all the way into number one. As a matter of fact, it was number one pop for 4 weeks and number one R&B for 6 weeks. It was a huge hit that year, but not really one of my favorites, which is why I guess I'd put it pretty low. But anyway, it was also featured on his 1976 album called Eargasm. And like I said, not a lot to say about this song. It's one of the early disco hits. As a matter of fact, I think it's the earliest song I know that has disco in its title. I don't know of any earlier songs with disco in the title. This came out, I think, in the spring of 1976. It was around the time when I first learned what disco was. I don't think I even heard the term disco until around January of 76. So disco was pretty new to me. I didn't quite know what it was all about yet. But I remember this song and I wasn't so thrilled by it. Pretty simplistic song. Shake it up, shake it down, move it in, move it around, disco lady. I mean, it's very sexual, obviously. Just about getting on the dance floor and shaking your thing. And even says, shake it, baby, shake your thing. I mean, I don't know, what's the word? Kind of how obvious is that about its sexuality? But that's kind of part of what disco was about, I guess. So, we were being introduced to disco and it's all its kind of, what's the word, promiscuity and kind of shocking value. And, it took a while for disco to really catch on. I think it kind of evolved over the next 3 or 4 years. And the height of disco, I think, was 1978 when everybody was listening to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. And of course, Saturday Night Fever was one of the most popular movies in early 78. I guess also late 77, shortly after it came out. But that would have to wait a couple years. So, anyway, and now I think I just want to talk about the artist Johnnie Taylor. He was a very prolific artist. I mean, I don't know how many guys are familiar with him. I'd say he was pretty close to James Brown as far as his commercial success in R&B. He was born in Crawfordsville, Alabama, in 1934. He died in 2000. I guess he didn't live all that long, 65 or 66. Um, and he covered several genres. I'm not an expert on his music. I think I only know two of his songs actually. I know this one. I'll get to the other one I know in a few minutes. But his genres included R&B, soul, gospel, blues, pop, doo-wop, and disco. So very versatile artist. He was a singer and songwriter. I guess kind of like James Brown. I don't think he's as good as James Brown. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody can really beat James Brown in terms of soul music, except for possibly Aretha Franklin, who I guess was his kind of female counterpart. But anyway, so I'm just going to go through his hits. His first hit was in 1963. He had a lot of R&B hits, by the way. I'm not going to go through his R&B hits. I think most of his hits were crossover hits, so I probably won't leave too many of them out, just going through his pop hits. But his first pop hit was in 1963. It was called Baby We've Got Love. That went to number 98, just barely made the Billboard Hot 100. And then his next was 1967. It was called Somebody Sleeping in My Bed. That one went to number 5. I don't know if Somebody's Been Sleeping by 100 Proof Age Soul was based on that song. It probably was. And I did feature that one at number 2956, if you guys remember that. But anyway, in 1968, he had his only other top 10 song besides Disco Lady. That was called Who's Making Love. And that one went to number 5. And that one is coming up later on my list. I think it's the only other song by Johnnie Taylor also on my list. It's the only other one I know by him, like I said. Pretty good song. But anyway, 1969, he had Take Care of Your Homework, which went to number 20. And I Want to Testify, which went to number 36. Actually, I think I do know that one. I think that was probably redone by somebody or other. And then he had I Could Never Be President, which went to number 48. Well, I got some news for you. I guess you're dead round, which is too bad, but I'm sure you would have made a lot better president than one we have now. I think I would have too, and I think most of us here would have. But anyway, enough of that. And then he had Love Blues, which went to number 43. And 1970 he had Steal Away, which went to 37. And I Am Somebody Part 2, which went to 39. In 1971, he had Jody's Got Your Girl and Gone, which went to 28. And I Don't Want to Lose You, which went to 86. And Hijackin' Love, which went to 64. In 1972, he had Standing In for Jody, which went to 74. In 1973, yeah, I Believe in You, You Believe in Me, which went to 11, and Cheaper to Keep Her, which went to 15. In 1974, he had We're Getting Careless with Our Love, which went to 34, and I've Been Born Again, which went to 78. In 1976, he had the song I'm featuring today, Disco Lady, which went to number 1, like I mentioned, and Somebody's Getting It, which went to 33. Finally, in 1977, he had Love is Better in the AM, which went to 77. I don't know if that's really true because I never usually check the time when I'm making love, but interesting thing to think about, I guess. And his last hit was Disco 9000, which went to 86. So those were the hits for Johnnie Taylor. And I guess that concludes my feature on Disco Lady. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time.